Jeez.
You think?
Yeah.
Maybe we should conclude it as part of the episode.
Think it's good enough?
Maybe, you know what? Maybe that's our Patreon bonus
content.
It would free up some time.
The bonus content is the clap.
You know what we should do?
What?
For a bonus Patreon episode? Just a supercut of all of our pre-show claps. It's like just
that's the content.
You could put me on the left side.
There you go.
On the right
Perfect.
side, you could be the center channel.
Yeah,
that's the content you want.
That's it. 600 something claps.
Giving you the content you didn't even know you wanted.
Yeah,
true.
There it is.
Hello and welcome to episode 646 of the Player One Podcast for Tuesday, March 26th, 2019. I'm your host, Chris Johnston, and with me tonight from Canada, Mr. Greg Seward.
I did the most Canada thing ever this weekend. I was at a hockey tournament with my son and my daughters, and they won gold. They won gold. So
congratulations.
And my voice is completely trashed because I spent the last 2 days screaming at the top of my lungs and cheering them on. So
play hockey better.
No, it's not like that.
You're not.
I thought after you said the most Canada thing ever that there was going to be like a maple syrup spill on the highway and like a herd of moose came
and a bus full of hockey players crashed.
I just want you to know this is why the rest of the world doesn't like Americans. Stuff like that.
Oh, come on! Like there isn't a lot of in America to make fun of right now.
I didn't say that.
he said that's the reason why.
But no, they won gold, and that's
you know what?
The very last game of the season, then they won their gold medal game 3-2 in double overtime, and they worked really, really hard. They played fantastic this week.
That's great,
Greg. If the worst problem that America has right now is we make a few maple syrup jokes at Canada, I'd be delighted.
Have you ever seen?
Delighted with that.
Have you ever seen the amazing documentary about the maple syrup mafia up in Quebec?
No, but now I'm glad that I mentioned it.
No, I'm serious. I'm serious. You should know. It's. I think it's actually part of an American series, but really? I will look that up and send it to you because I'd love to watch. Fascinating.
There's a maple syrup mafia.
Biggest, most valuable heist.
Yeah. We've talked about this on the show before.
Maple syrup.
This has come up on the show before.
Yep.
From what I understand, like the Italian mafia, I understand there's like some sort of big like olive oil racket with that.
I bet you it's the same idea. There's a conglomeration that like owns the distribution of maple syrup.
Really?
Yeah.
From what I understand though, the mob
is put the squeeze on Mrs. Butterworth.
I think they're selling like fake olive oil or something
and
like that.
The Great Canadian Maple Syrup Heist. A months-long robbery between 2011 and 2012. Nearly 3,000 tons of maple syrup valued at $18.7 million.
Wow.
Okay. And that's Canadian dollars, probably.
That'll sweeten your pancake.
Yeah.
Sweeten your pancake.
Adjusted for inflation, the heist was the most valuable in Canadian history.
Wow.
I love that the most valuable heist in our country was maple syrup. I think
you wonder why.
That one I'll give you. You absolutely can make jokes about that. I'm making jokes about that. But.
Down here, the heists are breaking into casinos. They make movies about them.
I'm sure that happened. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Anyway, and joining me from the great state of Washington, Mr. Filthy Bald.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm okay. You know what the title of the Canadian maple syrup heist film is?
What?
I just looked it up. It's Ocean's 8.
Nope.
Not acceptable.
Greg just left.
Greg left.
Greg just left.
I think what he really did is muted himself and hit his camera so that he can laugh at your joke.
That makes sense.
And not feel bad.
Yeah. Hi, CJ.
Hey, how's it going?
It's fine.
I just got back from GDC and boy, are my arms tired.
No. doing a little
doing a
Bentley impression there.
Well, I guess so. Yeah.
That's the turtle.
Cooper.
That's the turtle, right?
Yeah.
Sly. We gotta break in. We gotta steal all the
time
syrup.
reversal cube. Yeah.
All the syrup, Sly. It's slippery. It's sticky at the same time, Sly.
Yeah.
There you go. What's the hippo's name?
Murray?
Murray. Do a Murray impression for me now.
I can't do
You can do it. I have faith in you.
Sly! That's all.
Really?
That's all I got.
That's it? Okay. What's up, Greg? Greg is clearly, I'm assuming, has some sort of child problem. Before the show,
I'm assuming.
For those of you just tuning in, after we started recording, which is the only time when you can tune in, Greg had to put his kids to bed, and I'm assuming one escaped.
I'm assuming
he's probably hurting them back in to bed. But how are you, CJ?
But anyway, so yeah, I've been at GDC. I've been at GDC all week. It was great. It was a lot of fun. Saw a lot of awesome folks, old friends, new friends, went to a lot of sessions.
All of your friends are old at this point, CJ.
That's true. You realize that's true.
Yeah.
Hanging out with a friend of the show, Chris Baker.
Oh, nice.
Who has a game coming out here on the 29th. Yeah. Operencia. So I think Greg will be talking a little bit about that later. But so yeah, had a great time.
Yeah.
Went to a very interesting talk by Jason Rohrer, who is an indie developer.
Okay.
And the thrust of his talk was about the indie apocalypse.
Was this one of those TED talks I've heard so much about?
No, but this was a one-person talk, and it was about the indie apocalypse.
That is called a monologue in theater.
I guess. Yeah. But it was very interesting. It was he compared some of the bigger indie titles out in terms of what their concurrent user base is currently, and basically like came to the conclusion that if you're an indie dev and you do like a story-based game that has a beginning and end and is not like replayable in a whole lot of ways, where it's like different every time or unique every time,
right,
then your concurrent user base basically falls off so fast that nobody is talking about your game months later. So he did a game called 1 Hour, 1 Life. That is basically you play it for an hour and you are birthed to another character who's already playing a person who's already playing the game. And it's like a survival game, but you only last for an hour in the game. Very, very interesting.
So he's arguing that like kind of story-based games,
not necessarily even story-based games. What he's arguing is a game that has unique situations that can be replayed over and over again is going to get you ultimately more users than a game that has a finite beginning, middle, end.
And this is just like in the indie space, I'm assuming?
Yes, this is just in the indie space. So he went so far as to like look up the top 20 concurrent user based, or the games based on concurrent user, what the top games are.
Right.
And there were a bunch that were, indie projects that nobody's reading about, or there's no news stories about, but tons of people are playing them and making YouTube videos about them. Versus the sort of single player traditional indie. So the idea was maybe the indie apocalypse isn't actually happening to those who are making games that can scale with the number of situations you can
so
play
something
and
like,
replay.
Let's say like
Rogue Legacy, for instance,
or like Donut County.
Donut County, yeah.
Donut County has it's not a very long game,
right?
It's it has a story that it's telling.
Yes,
and it has a very definite end to it.
Right.
So he's saying maybe indie developers need to kind of shy away from that sort of thing.
He's saying that no, not that you should shy away from it, just that your expectations of success should be different.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So
not that there aren't great games like Donut County.
Well, I'm not trying to besmirch Donut County, because Donut County is a pretty wonderful little game.
Right.
But just if success is the matrix by which you define, well, let me back that up. If financial success is the matrix by which you define success, maybe something like Donut County is not what you need to be striving for.
That's right.
Okay.
Yes,
I understand.
Yeah, it was very interesting.
And you know what?
Interesting idea.
I don't develop games, so it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, but some of the games that you like a whole lot, like Rogue Legacy.
I love Rogue Legacy.
Yeah. Has that sort of infinite replayability.
It does
every time.
It does.
And a game like Spelunky, which a lot of people love.
A lot of people love Spelunky.
I am not really into Spelunky.
Man,
I tried.
I need to give that another try because
a
lot of people who know what they're talking about really enjoy Spelunky.
They do,
but it never clicked with me.
Never clicked with me either.
Yeah,
I feel bad about it. I tried.
I know, same here.
I tried.
I think I bought like
360
3 different versions of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Just trying to make it work, but it never clicked for me.
It didn't.
Okay,
for me.
So that was a good talk you went to.
Yeah, I went to a bunch of good talks.
Who gave that talk again?
Jason Rohrer.
Okay.
Yeah, and he's done like he did like a bunch of DS games.
Okay.
Like he's a one-man game developer, and he spent 3 or 4 years making this 1 hour, 1 life game. Right. Is continually adding content to it. It is, I guess you would call it a service game, but there's no like DLC or even any sort of currency. Right. It's just sort of he's adding to it.
It's open-ended.
Open-ended, yes.
Yeah, it's open-ended. He can continue building upon the base.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Which, makes sense.
Sure.
Makes sense. I mean, especially, since streaming and all that is so popular, you want to have, if you have a game that is getting you a lot of views on your stream, you want to be able to be kind of continuously showing new material for it. So,
yeah,
there you go. Okay.
That's right. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Greg's still gone.
Who needs that guy? That guy's a jerk. We don't need him anyway. What else happened at GDC? Did you commit any crimes?
No crimes. No crimes were committed.
How was San Francisco?
It was fine.
Yeah?
For the last 2 years, the area around GDC has been like a nightmare of construction.
Yeah. Well, it's still at the Moscone Center.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But this year they were all done with that construction.
Oh, good.
So that was done. And
nice.
Moscone looking really nice, really sort of different setup.
Yeah.
There. So
very good.
We're trying to stretch this thing way too much.
Did he still smell like pee?
Yes.
Good. You see any human feces on the street?
I didn't. No, not that I saw.
That area is not really where you want to go for street feces.
No,
there are definite neighborhoods in San Francisco to go to for street feces.
We can find them; it's readily available.
Yeah, the financial district is not really prime street feces area. Anything else about the show that was worth showing or worth talking about?
I don't know. Should we talk about this while Greg's gone?
I don't know. Do you want to sit around till he gets back? You know what?
Yeah, sure.
Here's my thought.
Sit around.
Here's my thought. Dude can't be arsed to show up or to stick around. Dude don't deserve to have this scintillating conversation with us.
That's right. Maybe if his kids,
we're doing this for realsies.
Maybe if his kids were working on an end boss for a game, then he wouldn't have to. That's all.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you this. Dana's out of town right now. Dana is currently. As of 5:27 Pacific time on March 24th, 2019, she is in the beautiful city of Shanghai, China. She's back. She's back over in China for 3 more weeks for work.
Okay,
and so it's me and the boy, and we went out. We did did some errands today. I got some groceries.
Oh, nice.
Those
are needed. Sure.
We ran over to the craft store as I had to buy some picture frames.
Okay.
And he saw some crafts that he wanted. He wanted to be a little artistic, so I got him some crafting supplies. He's out there right now. He's watching some Teen Titans Go.
Yeah.
Okay. He's eating some sun chips. And
healthy.
he's borderline on
really.
The scale of crap that I eat. Yes, extremely healthy.
Okay.
And he's doing some artwork. He's making some art. So look who's back. Look who decided to grace us with his presence. There he is.
I can't even hear him.
No.
There we go. Heard that.
Did one of them get out of the house and you had to like chase him down the block?
Had to go do some parenting.
Oh boy.
Oh jeez.
Are you putting your belt back on right now?
It's extreme.
That's the director's cut.
That's time for a whooping. That's not true. That's not true. Greg is a wonderful, supportive, and nurturing father, just as he was a coworker.
Indeed. Yeah.
So there you go.
You missed my GDC wrap up there.
I don't care.
Yeah, I figured.
Told you.
Did we talk about
Greg wasn't gonna care?
I was all like, I was like, okay, what else you got from GDC? And CJ's like, well, I don't know if I should talk about it. Greg's gonna be upset if he doesn't hear it. And I'm just like, no, that dude can go take a long walk off a short pier.
Know what I'm saying? Had dinner with friends of the show, Seabake.
Oh, you mentioned Seabake.
Greg Ford.
Hey, there you go.
Ethan Einhorn.
We're using the term friend very loosely here, are we?
Oh, so
friends of the show and former coworkers and good people. We went to the burger bar there in San Francisco, and
was it you guys, you four?
It's us four. Yeah.
Thought you would have had more friends from the old Ziff days, but I guess
I feel like fewer people from the old Ziff days are going to GDC anymore.
It seems that way. Yeah. There was a Ziff meetup that I unfortunately was not able to go to.
Boo.
Seems like a lot of people weren't.
Oh, really? It's too bad.
Yeah.
But I did also run into Sam,
the guy who actually, organized the thing.
I ran into Sam Kennedy and James Milkey.
Oh, nice. How are they doing?
They're doing good. Yeah.
Good.
So,
CJ, are they doing good or are they doing well?
They're actually doing well.
They're doing well.
They're doing very well.
Yeah.
I mean, unless they were like, I don't know, saving an old lady from a burning building when you ran across them. I mean, then they'd be doing good as well.
All right.
They're doing good very well.
Yeah, they were exactly.
The coordination between the two of them when they were tossing the infants out of the window and Milky was catching them, and it was good stuff.
CJ is so over this joke.
I am. What are we talking about?
We're talking about grammar.
Okay.
Learned that from Weird Al song.
I see.
Dare to be stupid.
So
Greg almost spit up his beverage there.
Did you guys check out the Nintendo Indie presentation they had during
it's called the Nindies.
The Nindies, that's right.
And, Cuphead as the lead. That's interesting.
Yeah. They said our friends at Microsoft.
Yep.
During the unveiling of that Studio MDHR.
Friends with benefit.
Telling you.
Oh,
Xbox, whatever next is. Xbox Next is just a streaming service.
Well, we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah, really.
Cuphead was the lead off there. I pre-purchased it, so I'm ready to do. I had not bought Cuphead on the Xbox or on the PC. So
I can't wait for it to come out on the Switch, because when it comes out at full price on the Switch, it'll be super cheap on Steam and Xbox.
Probably so.
Yeah, see,
you're probably right.
I purchased the game on Steam when it first came out. I did not have an Xbox One, so I bought it on Steam, and then when I got my Xbox One, I was like, okay, I'll buy it on here as well. And it's a great game. Don't get me wrong. I love Cuphead, but I do not necessarily feel the need to pay full price for it a third time. Yeah, but when it goes down for sale,
you don't like it Rogue Legacy levels.
Oh no, it's not Rogue Legacy. Come on.
Right.
What game is really?
I can't think of one.
Rogue Legacy 2? Are they making one of those?
Jeez,
I'd play Rogue Legacy 2. As much as I make fun of Phil, that's a good game.
It is a good game.
That's a really good game.
It is a good
really,
game.
Really good game.
Not all the games I like are weird and not very good. Sometimes I like genuinely good games.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Stop clock is right twice a day.
Yeah. So we got a couple other awesome games. Katana Zero coming out on Switch next month. That's great.
I pre-purchased that game.
Excellent, as you should.
It looks good.
I think you'll enjoy it. Published by Devolver. I
don't understand the pre-purchasing of digital games, but that's just me.
That means you can play it on the release date right away.
Yeah,
but you can play it on the release date right away anyway.
And download. I don't have to wait for it to download.
But you're
But it's front of mind to go ahead and purchase it now.
Yeah. I'm showing support to the developers.
That's cool.
Greg.
That's right.
Did you get to play this game at the show?
Me?
CJ? No, the other guy who went to GDC on this podcast.
No, Phil.
No, I didn't get to play this game
weird,
at the show.
Greg. I would have figured someone would have flown that game up to Nova Scotia. To your
I did not get to play the game of the show. No, however, it was an Adult Swim game at one time, so I have played it, and it is really good.
Okay. Because when you said, "I think you will enjoy it," Phil.
Yes.
Can you give us some juicy development stories in the game? Like something really embarrassing to the developer or the publisher?
No. But it's really good, and it comes out next month, and I think you will enjoy it, Phil, and possibly Greg.
It looks great.
It is really good. Stranger Things 3.
Yeah, that looks pretty neat.
Play a little bit of it.
It plays just like a Super Nintendo game.
It does. It really reminded me of Zombies Ate My Neighbors a little.
Explain to me how it plays like a Super Nintendo game and not a Genesis game.
Well, either one, I suppose.
Because the graphics look better.
The graphics look better, and the sound effects aren't really super tinny and weird. How about that?
He's hurt.
That's the right answer right there.
That is the right answer.
Yep.
It doesn't sound like Haunting starring Poltergeist.
If it was coming out for Genesis, it would have really, really nice animation, but kind of crappy gameplay and level design. Whereas this version may not look as flashy on the surface.
Wait, is the Genesis version designed by Dave Perry? Is that the? Is the Genesis version designed by Dave Perry?
I don't. You can put whatever you want onto what I was saying.
You talking Zombies Ate My Neighbors?
So you're saying when it comes out on the Genesis, it's going to be like beautiful and unique and well crafted, but the Super Nintendo version is just going to be a Me Too cookie cutter platformer. Is that what you're getting at?
Well, I mean, if you mean like well crafted, you just mean kind of like random slipshod level design and like that one.
Anyway, though, the
game suffers from those same problems.
The game has a little bit of a hybrid sort of beat 'em up style action plus some light puzzle solving adventuring. So pretty good. And from the developers Bonus XP on that one.
I don't know who that is, but the game looks good.
So they did the mobile sequel to Hero Academy, and then they also did the original Stranger Things game on mobile, which is quite good.
That was a good game.
If you had not played that,
I might have to get that.
Yeah, it's really good on mobile and free on mobile.
Yes, indeed.
Sweet.
But anyway, yeah. So I pre-purchased that, and then we got Blaster Master 02.
How many games are there that let you play as Winona Ryder?
Not many.
Not enough.
Yeah. Not enough.
I mean, I'm still waiting for my Reality Bites game.
There's this one. There was the Lucas game. And there was, I believe,
Is there a Lucas game?
Yeah.
That was a real thing?
Yeah.
That movie Lucas?
Lucas, yeah.
Okay.
Where you're like the little scrawny kid playing football?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember the movie. I didn't realize there was a game.
Yeah, there's some levels where you play as Winona Ryder's character. She's like in the band, and it's like a rhythm game.
I can't tell if this is a joke or not.
And then there are the levels where you play as Corey Haim, right?
I think this is a joke.
Where you're like, it's like the football game where you're like dodging like the big Charlie Sheen characters.
I don't believe this at all.
It came out.
This isn't real.
Came out for
this
the
isn't real.
Surprised, Greg.
No, it didn't. Lucas was in the mid '80s. Didn't come out for Genesis. Come on.
I mean, that's when it got popular. It was like '92. Everyone was like that big Lucas resurgence.
This is a bit. Doing a bit. Anyway, so Blaster Master 02, a game Shadow dropped, yeah, which I love games that shadow drop, of course. Blaster Master 0, I finished that game, so having more Blaster Master is always good. Always good. Always a good
I
thing.
never did finish Blaster Master Zero. I wasn't really crazy about it, actually.
I was big into it. I enjoyed it.
I'm interested in checking out this one.
I didn't bother with the sort of secret endings that they had, but I enjoyed it quite a bit. Then from Vlambeer, we got Nuclear Throne.
Mm-hmm.
And
are we going to go through every game in the Nindies?
Super Great Box is coming. Yeah, we're going through every game. And also, I want to point out here, Double Fine announced a game during this from director Lee Petty. Lee Petty, of course, of Stacking and Headlander fame.
I noticed that he name-dropped Headlander.
He name-dropped Headlander, which is awesome. And the new game is called Rad. It is a roguelike style game sort of set in a futuristic, apocalyptic 80s sort of thing.
80s
so
past.
That looks awesome. And everybody should get excited for that coming this summer.
You know what? Can I kind of piss on our cereal here?
Go ahead. Yeah, it hasn't stopped you before.
It's true.
Yeah, really. What if TJ says no?
I'll just do it anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not sold on Rad. I kind of don't like Rad. I kind of don't like I don't like the look of it.
Don't like the look.
It looks too dark and dingy. For a game
that's the whole point, though.
Does it look too real for you, Phil? Is that the problem?
It does. It just kind of looks kind of bland to me.
What? Bland?
Okay.
You were kind of bland, and we invite you back every week.
Yeah,
that's
I know,
true.
but I have charisma.
No, you don't. No, you don't. Well, anyway, it was just a first trailer. We're going to see more from it, I think.
I mean, I'm not like
I watched a few. I watched a few people play on the show floor. It was available to play, and it's looking awesome. And there's also a beta sign up.
Okay.
As well, Bandai Namco is publishing. So
yes,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm into it. I'm into it. And I'll just wrap up by saying that both Sony and Microsoft are doing presentations this upcoming week. So we're recording before those. But please look forward to the State of Play and ID at Xbox presentations that are happening this week, because I think we'll see some awesome stuff there as well. Heading into PAX.
Yeah,
Hacker really is Zelda's biggest fan, and the chat calls out that the Iditarod game actually looks pretty cool, which I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that's what he thinks it was called. Interesting concept.
Hugely interesting concept. And I really liked that during this.
I love wintry settings for games. I don't know why. But there's something about them.
Yeah,
something about your Canadian heritage.
Maybe.
But I thought it was great. That game looked great, and it was great during this Nintendo presentation, the Nindies presentation, that they had developers present their own games. So the Iditarod game, and then Lee Petty, when he spoke about Rad, was great. So
Dana, my wife, is super hyped for, was it Red Lantern?
I think so. I'm not sure. I'm just going by what Zelda's biggest fan said in the chat.
Yeah, the Iditarod game. She is super hyped about that game because she actually follows the Iditarod. Yeah,
huh.
She's like, there's like a whole online community of people who are like way into the Iditarod. Yeah, and she is kind of started getting into it. So
cool.
When I showed her that, she just got extremely excited.
Very cool.
So
all right, should we talk about Stadia?
What's that?
Google,
like a Red Hot Chili Peppers album? Or?
Google is getting into video games with a new platform.
Yes,
called Stadia. Yeah, it is streaming based entirely, and they are trying to attach AAA games to it. And the only piece of hardware that we were shown is a controller. It's all sort of server based, and you play through Chrome. So.
You know what though?
I will let you people who are listening to this who may not have seen the presentation should go watch it. I don't know if you guys watched the whole presentation or not.
I did not, because it got real boring real quick.
It got real boring. There was a lot of talk about data centers in there, and also having the Google CEO say twice that he's not a big gamer right at the beginning was kind of.
Now hold on a second.
You know what? Honestly, who cares?
Honestly, who cares? But also, you're introducing a games platform. Do you have to say that?
Not saying
like
right.
Here at the McDonald's Corporation, we're really excited about this new hamburger we're producing. Now, personally,
I'm a vegan.
Vegetarian.
I would never eat.
I would never touch the stuff.
I wouldn't eat this for the world.
This stuff is not for me.
You should buy it.
But trust me when I say you will probably love it.
Yeah.
Now,
if
only there were some way, because I mean, here we got Google bigwigs saying, "Oh, we don't really play games." But how do I know? How could I be sure that the people manufacturing?
Oh God, you're gonna say it.
How can I know that they're real hardcore gamers? CJ, is there maybe some sort of secret code or some secret little signal that they could send to me to let me know that hey, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, we're
with you.
We're hardcore like you.
Maybe they could put the Konami code on the back of their controller.
Oh man, could you imagine?
What do you think of that?
I think they should. Everyone who signs up for the Stadia service
question mark
should be sent a free NES controller T-shirt from Hot Topic that says "old school" on the bottom.
Yeah, probably.
Really
Actually, well. I mean, since we're already jumping into that, the up down down Konami code thing that's printed on the back of the controller. Did they get Konami's permission to do that on there, you think?
Do they need Konami's permission for that?
Can you copyright a?
I mean, people do think of it as the Konami code.
Yeah, but I don't think that makes it copyrightable.
I mean, is Konami? It's sort of like a weird endorsement, almost. I don't know. Anyway, I thought a number of things were weird about the presentation.
The whole thing smacked of just let's grab game references.
Yes, including during the game art style thing where they put the art style of Pac-Man on their little demo of a dude running around. It was like, why? Like, what is the point of that?
Right.
You had the Konami code on the back of the controller. You had one of the executives wearing a Rez t-shirt. You had Jade Raymond make a Mega Man reference. When was the last time she played Mega Man? I wonder.
Okay, wait a minute. Back up.
Just kidding.
I think you just took what was the one sort of legit gaming piece of this.
I guess you're right.
And tore it apart based on absolutely nothing.
She had to mention Mega Man during the okay.
No, I mean,
and then there was various iconography. Like in their preview video, like we're going to show racing and a locker room and a thing like without actual games being announced. And apparently in the theater itself, before the presentation, they would show icons on the screen from games that were not actually announced, like a cowboy hat, like Red Dead Redemption 2.
How do you know that all those games just aren't indicative of publishers that have signed up to make games for this thing?
Because they didn't say anything about publishing partners at all. They listed off all the technologies that they have, and that's it.
If Rockstar had signed up,
I know. To
start making games, they're not going to say, well, we'll never tell.
We'll never tell. No,
they're going to be throwing that right in your face.
But they showed NBA 2K. Mm-hmm. All right, is NBA 2K a Stadia game that's going to be launching on the service? They didn't say. They just showed like here's a bunch of people in your YouTube chat joining your game. Right?
Yeah. Didn't Nintendo use NBA 2K and when the earliest Switch? They did it before it was announced that it was actually going to be a game for the thing too.
Yes, they did.
I mean, but it's okay when Nintendo does it. Is that what we're saying?
It's not okay when Nintendo does it. No,
I don't know. That's the vibe I'm getting from this conversation. No, I'm just kidding. You're right. I mean, I think it's very what you just said, where you had the CEO come out and say, "I'm not a gamer," and then a presentation that made it clear that whoever put it together probably isn't really plugged into this industry,
right?
Yeah.
But again, I think. The reason I said why does that matter is because who cares if the CEO is a gamer? Like if you put the right people in charge of what this is.
Here's the honest truth. Here's the honest truth,
a gamer.
Here's what should have happened. Jade Raymond should have been the first person out on that stage.
That's kind of what I'm getting at, because I think that they should have, because I mean, in Jade Raymond, they have a legit connection to the game industry.
They absolutely do.
Her the face
even more so than putting Phil Harrison up on that stage. Jade Raymond should have been right up there, introducing this thing.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a huge missed opportunity. And the fact that they spent a lot of time on games middleware stuff. I mean, yeah, it was GDC, but also they were making this out to be their big public unveiling of this thing. So it was a little weird.
Do you think they have another presentation at E3?
Yeah, I'm sure they will. Yeah,
so that might be the more.
They didn't really even talk about developers and publishers. So Doom Eternal, yeah, they're doing the thing. Okay, so is Doom Eternal on Stadia like a launch thing, or are we getting NBA 2K? Are we getting Assassin's Creed Odyssey? They showed Rise of the Tomb Raider in their little finding a hint video thing.
Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
I thought it was Rise.
I don't know. I wasn't there.
Anyway,
it's weird they showed the old one though, because Shadow is the latest one.
Okay, fine. I forget which one it was, but anyway, what I'm gonna say some positive things about this.
Finally,
so we're not all down on it, and then I'm gonna say some not positive things. First of all, the tech that they showed is super cool. Like being able to play the same game anywhere across any screen with synced progress. That is like a dream that I want to see happen.
Yep.
Right. The controller. So not as bad as we feared from the renders of the patent. It looks like a more rounded version of the Switch Pro controller. That seems fine. The fact that it has a dedicated button for sharing is awesome. Like I love that functionality on other controllers.
We know Sea of Thieves.
Well, on the Xbox, there's no button. There's no dedicated button.
I know.
It's a combination of buttons you have to do there. But anyway, and the fact that so with streaming, keeping the operating system and a game up to date with no patches solves a huge pain point for this generation. That is like the worst thing this generation. Downloading patches, like the fact that they sort of made a joke about that with the progress bar. I mean, it's true that, and I hope that's solved next time. The thing about it is, okay, so is this a streaming service, like a subscription sort of all you can eat thing? Because if it is, then how are they going to get AAA third parties to play ball with their newest games?
Yeah.
That seems like that's not going to happen. Where are the exclusives? So, like, is it going to only be from...
Well, that's kind of what I'm getting at, though, is that, I mean, I feel like, I agree with that, but I also feel like this is the first announcement. So I'm not ready to sort of jump on that.
All of these things can be answered in the next few months. They said this thing is launching in 2019. So I think that sets up, we're already three calendar months.
They've definitely got to be fast about what they're doing. Absolutely.
Got to be fast. The other thing, so right now we play in siloed platforms, Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, PC, or you're normally just playing on Steam. So with multiplayer games, especially, I want to play where my friends are playing.
Yeah.
What does that mean for Stadia games? Like,
well, hopefully it would mean that could be anywhere.
Hopefully that means it could be anywhere. And actually, I think they missed a very huge trick by not courting some of the developers that do free-to-play games that are cross-platform and cross-save already, or cross-progression. So you take a game like Paladins or Realm Royale that recently got cross-progression on Xbox and PC. Like, why weren't they talking about those games? They talked about like cross-platform being on Chrome. You can play the same Stadia game across all of these screens, but they didn't talk about what I think is the more important thing, which is playing against the people I know on other platforms and having that progress carry over. So I think they missed something huge there. What about, not always wanting to stream games? If you have bandwidth concerns, a lot of net neutrality stuff going around the US now. A lot of people have bandwidth caps. That's going to be a possible concern. The power goes out. can't play, obviously, or if your internet goes out, you can't play your game. That's a big thing, I think. No?
It is, but I mean, I'm curious about that because we say that, and I mean, of course, we're speaking from personal experience. I mean, you have a bandwidth cap. I don't. A lot
of places elsewhere in the world do too. Not
I mean,
just
honestly, and I know that, and this is what I'm saying. This is what I'd be interested to really know numbers about. And what I'm talking is kind of numbers that if any company in the world's going to have solid numbers on this sort of stuff, it's going to be Google.
Sure. But, yeah, absolutely.
But it's like, I mean, my internet doesn't go down ever. It goes down when the power goes up. When the power goes up, I'm not playing video games anyway, except on the Switch for an hour and a half. So
my internet goes out with a fair amount of regularity.
But this is what I'm saying is that this, your experience is different from my experience. And what I'd be interested in is what their metrics actually say.
Okay.
Because I'm sure it's definitely somewhere in the middle. I'm not saying that anything that you're saying isn't true. What I'm getting at is how big a slice of the market will have that issue. Sure. Is it big enough that this is a bad idea, or is it small enough that they know that the numbers are good enough that they can go for it? I feel like it must be small enough that they think they can do this. So,
well, yeah. And you do have bandwidth caps on mobile up there, right?
Oh, mobile up here is a shit show.
Yeah,
I mean, we're charged through the nose for like, I mean, I have 1 or 2 gigs a month, and I pay through the nose for it.
Yeah. So for me anyway, this probably won't actually be available on all of my screens because I have iOS devices that.
Well, but if you're on Wi-Fi,
unlikely. It's unlikely that they will even play Stadia games. Period, is what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Closed. Yeah,
closed platform. So, like the Steam Link app that Valve wanted to do got rejected by Apple,
right?
And I'm sure PS Now is not on iOS, and Xbox Project Stream or whatever they're doing probably won't be either. So so back catalog stuff, I'm assuming that this isn't going to have a back catalog. It's just going to launch with
maybe
stuff.
But I mean, if they launch with enough, will it matter? I mean, that's sort of the age-old question, because I mean, the last 2 generations of consoles have been launching with no back catalog.
Yeah,
the Switch launched with no back catalog, and then proceeded to release everyone's back catalog for the next 2 years.
True. So yeah, how's this gonna? So if the primary platform for this, I'm assuming, is a PC, how is this going to compare to just playing locally on your PC? I understand, of course, that they can do better graphics work than your PC might be able to locally. So that's fine. But in terms of like latency, like how does it compare?
That'll be the big question. I mean,
that is the big question.
That's what I'm really curious about, because I mean, I feel like for the types of games that I play, a little bit of latency isn't the end of the world.
Sure.
You can sort of, you can compensate for it. But I mean, if you're like hardcore into fighting games, latency
but for a lot
everything.
of the games, you look at like what are the biggest games on console and PC now, like Fortnite, Apex Legends. You start looking at Destiny, etc. Like you're probably where latency might affect.
But what's funny about that is those are online games. So I mean, there is a level of latency issue
already
there already. So I mean, I get what you're saying, but I'm wondering, like, that community already puts up with that.
Yeah.
So is it a problem? Is it really a problem?
I guess we'll really
be a problem. We're gonna find out. But I'm just saying, like, they're definitely there's so many different potholes that they could hit and will hit. But I feel like it's way too early to worry about this stuff right now. And as far as how is it different than sitting at home on your PC? I mean, it's different in a million ways.
Mm-hmm.
Like if it's a device that you can take with you and use anywhere, as long as you've got a Wi-Fi connection, and especially if you can use it on an Android device, because a lot of people have those.
Hotel internet.
Internet or something like that, right? Like, I mean, that's what you do with your Switch right now. Well, that's what you do with your Switch right now.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So I mean, that's awesome. And it all depends on the library, Obviously, I think that's the biggest question that needs to be answered right now. Is honestly, because if it comes out and it's 1 or 2 games and they don't have the support of the big hitters, like they need Ubisoft, they need EA, they need Activision, they need they need the big boys. Especially where you're not going to have any obviously first party Nintendo stuff, you're not going to have any first party Sony stuff, and those 2 companies are the reason that people go to those 2 consoles for the most part, right? Like if you don't have a Rockstar, if you like you and a bunch of indies, if they don't launch with all that, then the question becomes, why would I even bother with this? And who cares about latency, right?
Yeah, I mean that sort of goes back to what I said earlier, where you want to play where your friends are playing, and am I going to earn a similar like achievements or trophies thing? Am I going to want to leave the sort
community
of ecosystem that I've already established myself in,
Absolutely.
be that PlayStation or Xbox, for whatever sort of community features this has?
Mm-hmm. Yep,
I think that's the big thing,
and I think the biggest way you can do that is games. It's going to have to be a hell of a sweet looking deal.
It is. I don't know if they are going to be able to put that together before the end of 2019.
Yep.
We'll see. I mean,
I think the question is how long have they been working on it, and how far are they?
I ran into a bunch of people at GDC who went to the talk itself, went to the presentation, and they were super jazzed on it, said it was going to be the future, going to change everything. And I watched the presentation and I just wasn't convinced by that.
You didn't get the gift bag underneath your chair. That's why. You didn't get the free controller S.
No, but I mean, you see a lot of companies try to do launchers, like the Epic Games Store trying to do that. You had Discord try to do that. You had Twitch, try to sell games. I don't know what sort of numbers they have, but you can kind of see that it's not easy to get people to switch from what they're comfortable in buying, right?
Yeah. You just got to work in the word switch, don't you?
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah. I just wish they had shown me some kind of game content that I really wanted to interact with or play. Like playing with a streamer, I guess, is cool, but I don't know. Have I ever wanted to do that?
The question becomes, is this even a device that's aimed at you?
I guess you're right. Yeah. I mean, the games that they showed on stage weren't exactly like new content, or weren't even things that you couldn't get elsewhere. They showed Pixel Junk Shooter.
Cool.
From 2009, when they were showing their state share technology. So, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
E3. I think E3 will be the big. I think how they show at E3 is going to be more important.
I think you're right. But my point would be that
you just really don't want to like this thing.
I don't think they ran away with it in this one. I think the technology is super cool. I want streaming, cross-platform.
You just want Nintendo to announce it.
No.
Just imagine. Oh, boy.
I mean, just imagine.
Don't pretend that the whole Microsoft in bed with Nintendo thing isn't what you've been dreaming of for a year. Since we're at the just past 1 year anniversary of Sea of Thieves.
No, Xbox Play Anywhere is the dream. Is the dream for me.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
On a console where you can also get your Nintendo fix.
Well, that would be good too. Yeah.
See?
Oh man.
Anyway, I wasn't sold on it. What do you guys think, though? Would you buy a $60 digital game on Stadia?
I think what you said is exactly right. It depends on the ecosystem and it depends on the price point. I mean, would I buy it if I also have to pay a monthly service to use it? I'm not crazy about that that idea. Although saying that, I do that with the PlayStation, the Xbox, and the Switch.
No.
Sure.
I mean, and it depends on the library and getting out of like you said, getting into the ecosystem you're in. I mean, I'm already invested in right now, probably the most heavily invested in PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do for me? Why am I going to spend time? I don't have enough time to spend on the systems I have. Why am I going to spend time on your junk? Like, what? Show me something. And they haven't shown it yet. You're right, but it was GDC, not E3. I think E3 is where they really have to pull out all the stops and just that's where those decisions will be made.
Yeah. I mean, what was weird about it was it was GDC, but they really targeted it as gamers come watch this thing for the future of games. And I mean, they did their Project Yeti thing last fall with Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and then they tried to play that off as it was some kind of secret when everybody everybody knew about that. So, what do you think, Phil? Are you going to be playing on this?
We'll see what happens at E3, but right now I do not care.
Yeah. I mean, some of the things that they showed, like especially being able to play immediately without having to download patches, I am right up there with that. Yes, that's a problem that needs to be solved, but I don't think this is exactly what I want yet. We'll see. Everything for me is about the content. If the content's good, then hey, I'll check it out.
Right.
All right. I think that means we're into what we've been playing.
All right.
Finally.
I know, right? Whew. And
it was like an hour ago before I just left the stream for 10 minutes.
We're going to start with Phil.
Oh boy. What have I been playing? Well, we already talked about, we mentioned these. But I did pick up a few of the Nindies.
Uh-huh.
I did purchase Katana Zero, as I mentioned. I did pick up Nuclear Throne because that is a fun game, and I wanted to have it on the Switch.
I've never played it. What's it like?
I played it on it was
on early access for a long time.
It was on the Vita, wasn't it?
Was it?
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, it's not a new game.
No, it's not. Yeah.
I mean, it's a Switch game. But yeah, so I'm pretty sure I played it on the Vita. It is it's kind of a twin stick shooter, except you have to hit a fire button.
Okay.
So it's like, the left stick moves you, the right stick aims your weapon, and then you have to pull the trigger to actually do the firing.
Okay.
But yeah, you're just going through little arenas, blowing stuff up, getting new weapons, that sort of thing, killing dudes. But it's kind of like a roguelite game where you're going to die probably sooner than later. But power-ups and stuff that, or stat boost type things will carry over. So you will progressively get better as you go. But it's a fun little game.
Okay.
And of course I picked up Blaster Master 02, which I admittedly just kind of started, just really cracked into it so far. I don't know if I'm gonna really get super into it though.
It's only $10.
Oh, it is only $10, but it's Intercreates has made this. They made the original Blaster Master 0 as well. Intercreates, I like their stuff. I like some of their stuff more than some of their other stuff. One thing that I've noticed Intercreates likes to do, and it doesn't really gel with me, is they will a lot of times with like their platformers or their kind of Mega Man-ish style, run and gun type games. They will add a lot of kind of elaborate sort of chaining techniques where it's where they encourage you to, sort of stylistically destroy a bunch of dudes at once and like rush into them or dash into them to chain combos and stuff like that. And I like that style of gameplay for like a Mega Man style game or like a Blaster Master style game. It doesn't really mesh for me.
Okay.
And it always seems like a little more trouble than it's worth when I just want to like run and shoot dudes. I don't want to have to worry about trying to memorize combo sequences and things like that. And it seems like this game, I was watching the trailer for it.
Oh no, that has that.
It seems like later on in the game they start introducing stuff like that. So I'm just like, am I gonna have fun with this game up until they start trying to be clever? And then I'm gonna fall off of it. So we'll see. But I picked it anyways. They got my money.
Yeah, really.
So it doesn't really matter at this point. I also picked up Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon. Everybody,
but you're not a Final Fantasy fan, there, Phil.
Point. Well, what I am
a Final Fantasy person
is, well, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and say that Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon. Everybody, is maybe not that similar to, let's say, Final Fantasy 15.
You're right.
I think they're kind of different.
Look very similar. Yeah,
a little different. I do enjoy the Mystery Dungeon games.
Right?
How do you not love a Chocobo? Even if you're not a big Final Fantasy.
True.
Good point.
How do you not love the Chocobo theme song? Right?
Of course. Yeah. As performed by Popeye, sure.
It's the one video game song that Popeye was meant to sing. Hello.
Yeah.
I loves to ride them Chocobos. The more I talk like Popeye, the less I sound like him.
True.
I guess is with part
notice that
with my impressions. But yeah, I like.
I'm strong to the finish when I ride my Chocobo.
Oh, that's even worse than mine.
I know. All right.
God, I wish this was over.
Come here. We're gonna go save Sweet Pea down at the dog racing track or something.
What?
There's a giant octopus we's got to fights. The movie. Did you ever see that Popeye movie? The Robin Williams Popeye movie?
I did. I saw it all of once in the theater back when it came out.
Really?
That's it.
Yeah. Good on you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I picked that up, and it's a Mystery Dungeon game. I enjoy Mystery Dungeon games.
Okay. So you're enjoying that, or have you played much of it?
I'm having some fun. I got played a couple levels so far.
Cool. And
it is it's a fun little game. And what else? What else did I pick up? Oh, it's not something I picked up, but it's something I've dove back into. I started playing more Dead Cells.
All right.
Remember the Dead Cells?
I do. Yeah, I do remember that. They updated it on Switch. In fact, 60 frames per second now, and yeah, they updated the Switch. Well, they probably updated all the versions, I'm assuming. I think Switch was the only one that wasn't 60 frames per second.
Right, but yeah, so that amongst the other little upgrades that they've done, game balancing type stuff and tweaking a few features, but yeah, they did up the frame count on Switch. So I dove back into that, and I was playing some more of it. I love Dead Cells, but I'm terrible at Dead Cells, and I was terrible at Dead Cells for a long time. And I don't know if it was a function of the balancing being rebalanced. I don't know if it's a function of me just having played the game enough where I'm starting to get better at it. Or I don't know if it's or if it's me having just finally sort of done enough runs where I'm better equipped at the start of the game, but I've suddenly gotten significantly better at Dead Cells.
Okay.
So although I was having great fun with the game, even when I was sucking at it,
now you're having great success.
I'm having great success. Well, let's not say great success. I'm having some success. Yeah, I finally reached like an actual boss the other day, and then I had to, it killed me a couple times, but then I was finally able to get to him again, and I killed him and was able to progress a couple stages past him. So yeah, I'm having a lot more fun with Dead Cells as of late. So
cool.
That's a fun little game. I mean,
it is.
It's no Rogue Legacy.
Well, yeah,
it is. But yeah, I'm having a blast with Dead Cells. still. So
cool.
There you go. That's about all I've been playing.
All right. Well, I finally did it. Playing Monster Boy.
Leaded.
Thank God.
I'm playing Monster Boy.
That.
You asked for it, and I'm doing it.
There you go.
Welcome. So I started that on the plane.
Yeah.
And
there's no plane in the game.
Started that on the plane to GDC, and I'm enjoying it. It's fun.
That's
not like, oh my God. I think you talked it up too much because
I talked it up after finishing the game, not after playing the first hour.
I like it, but I need to play more of it. Yes. It looks beautiful though.
Yeah,
it looks great.
It is that.
Indeed.
You know what I highly suggest now
What's
that you're into the Wonder Boy ecosystem?
Oh yeah.
You may have heard the latest Generation 16 episode.
Never heard of it.
Yeah. Goes through all the Wonder Boy games. Goes through the Wonder Boy timeline. You should check that out.
Okay.
Sometime.
Yeah. Well,
maybe 20 minutes while you're not playing Monster Boy.
Link to it in the show notes.
Yes, please.
I will.
It has several glaring errors, but it's still a pretty decent episode.
You might have to re-upload that.
I'm just kidding. No, it's
yeah.
I watched it and it is fantastic, Greg.
Thanks.
I was very, very impressed. I was very pleased with that episode.
Yes, and Monster Boy is quite fun. I'm enjoying it so far. And there's a demo on the eShop. If you have not checked it out, there's now a demo, so you can check that. And the progress carries over to the full version.
Oh, does it?
Yeah. Highly recommended. My game of the year last year.
Yes. Playing another game on Switch. It's called Farm Together.
Farm Together.
I loved that when it was on Facebook.
Farm Together. It is not a Facebook game, but it is out on multiple platforms. So you'll find it on your PlayStations, you'll find it on your Xboxes. It's out on PC, and it's out on Nintendo Switch also.
Is it cross-play?
I don't think so, actually.
So you're not farming together,
but you can. So the sort of crux of the game is that you start a farm. Mm-hmm. And anyone online can join you and help you water your crops or
oh my God,
do things in the game. So I got one copy and I got one for my daughter, and we are farming together in the truest sense of the word.
Well, if there's one thing I want to do when I'm playing a video game, it's not even just do grueling chores to benefit my game.
Do them together.
I want to do them to benefit someone else's game.
That's right. No, we are working on basically my farm, and she comes in and helps. And this game, it's sort of similar to Farmville in that even if you are not logged in, the time on your farm continues, right? So when you come back in, your stuff will be ready to harvest and or water and all that fun stuff that you may have seen in Farmville. But no microtransactions at all, no loot boxes whatsoever. It's just pure unadulterated chore doing. And
you're really selling this
in this game. No, it's fun. It's
If you don't, like, so let's say you don't play the game for like a week or two, will you come back and all your crops will be dead?
Plus no, they don't pull weeds for an hour.
So no, it doesn't do any of that stuff. Your stuff doesn't go bad or anything.
Okay,
no. So it stays fresh forever.
CJ, your stuff could never go bad.
I'm staying fresh forever.
You stay fresh forever.
Yeah. Oh, I will.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're having a little bit of fun with that, and you can plant all kinds of crops and place animals and build your farm up with different statues and farm stands and a little gas station thing for your tractor.
Those are called scarecrows.
Well, fine. You can build scarecrows and all sorts of stuff. So it's pretty cool, and me and my daughter are having fun constructing a farm.
The only thing I liked about this whole story is that you and your daughter are enjoying playing a game together.
We are, yeah.
And
then occasionally a random person will come in and also do stuff on the farm. And you can restrict them to doing only certain things if you want to, or give them full access. So
the worst part about the story is, due to lack of crossplay, what you're experiencing, I can't experience.
I actually don't know if there is crossplay. There may be.
Let's look it up.
I don't know.
Let's find out. Okay, Farm Together.
Best
crossplay.
The best radio is always when we do Google searches.
You know it.
Hey, look what I got. YouTube people.
Ooh.
You know what that is? CJ.
Is that Katamari ball?
That is a plush Katamari and a plush Prince of Cosmos. Look at that.
Yeah.
And look at this. The Katamari and the Prince's hands have little magnets in them. So he can hold a Katamari ball.
No crossplay.
Answer, no crossplay. Yeah.
No crossplay?
Lame.
No crossplay. But that would be cool. And of course, more and more games are supporting that now. And maybe they'll add it. Who knows? Probably not. But and that's all I've been playing.
Oh God, Phil's being invaded.
What?
No. We're being invaded.
Oh, hi, Finn. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Phil has appeared.
Did you say he has a beard?
I said Mini Phil has appeared.
Oh, I thought you said he has a beard, and it got really weird. Like he drew a beard on his face or something. Anyway, Greg.
Hi.
I think Greg, you're up.
I'm way up.
Way up.
What did I play this week? Let me go check what I wrote down. I played on my stream last week. On Monday nights, of course, I've been playing through adventure games.
Yes.
And it was time to crack open one of the MacVenture games as ported by Chemco to the NES. So I played Deja Vu. You don't care. You're staring at your iPhone.
I do care, though.
But you were staring at your iPhone.
I don't know what you're talking about. Glance.
So I played that poorly on Monday night. Got the bad ending. Didn't even know there was a bad ending.
Oh.
So yeah, got that. That's those games. For anybody who was around and remembers them, you probably have really fond memories of them. Chemco did such a fantastic job of porting. It was Deja Vu, Uninvited, and of course Shadowgate is the one that everybody probably remembers.
Oh right,
porting those games too. They were originally like Apple II /
Mac.
Mac. They were Mac games, but I think they're also available in the Apple II.
Yeah, but I think they were originally that.
Well, they were called the MacVenture games. Yeah. Which I have played already on my Monday night streams, but again, going sort of chronologically, and I've gotten as far as those. I'm really excited to get to Shadowgate though. That's my favorite one for sure. It was a good time. They're always a good time. My streams are always a good time. The more interesting game that I streamed this week, well, I mean, depending on how you feel about retro games, I guess. So you know Zen Studios.
I do know Zen Studios,
makers of fantastic pinball games.
Indeed.
Oh, actually, I want to back up. You know what else I tried this week for the first time?
What's that?
Pinball FX in VR.
Oh,
that was really cool.
Yeah.
And it kind of ruined me for like just sort of standard pinball games on the. I mean, those are still great. Don't get me wrong. Pinball FX stuff is generally excellent.
Sure.
And there's way more tables available playing on like the 2D Pinball FX series, but they've released some tables in VR, which I think you can play on PC as well as on PlayStation VR. And a friend of mine brought over his PlayStation the other night so we could play around with some PSVR stuff. Tried that and Fisherman's Tale, which was super cool, but I don't really want to talk about that one too much because the magic of that game is going into it not knowing anything about it.
Okay.
But highly recommended. Highly recommend Fisherman's Tale.
It's a VR game.
It's a VR game. You got to play it in VR. Highly recommended. But he also has pinball FX tables in VR, and man, it's just great. I mean, it feels like the table's right there. Like
sure.
It's amazing what that depth can do for pinball, as opposed to just your standard video pinball. So I really, really dug that as well. I might have to grab that myself. Be fun to jump in and do a few different tables there. But no, yeah, so Zen Studios this week, actually, I think as of the launch of this episode, they're releasing an RPG.
You mean the 29th, Friday?
Oh, I thought it was out like on the Tuesday. Okay,
no.
maybe this
Friday.
week either way.
Yep.
On the 29th, they're launching an RPG, which not a studio you would expect to get an RPG from. And of course, friend of the show, Chris Baker, works with Zen Studios. Did a lot of the writing on this game and set me up with a pre-release code that I was allowed to stream this week.
Cool.
For the first little while. Really enjoyed it. Now, I used to be RPGs used to be like my genre. That's what I played all the time when I was younger. Ever since the first time I played Final Fantasy, it's like if it's an RPG, I want to play it. Fallen off that for a while for two reasons. One is I've never gotten super into Western style RPGs. They're good, but they just don't really speak to me too much.
Sure.
JRPGs have gotten, in my opinion, most of them have gotten way up their own asses on all the different systems and everything. Like they're overly complicated generally. Now, I say that as someone who doesn't play as many of them as I used to, but the ones that I do end up trying end up being just way too much, way too many systems to deal with.
Yeah. Some people like that. I don't.
Some people do. It's not for me.
Yeah.
And then of course, I just, as we all do, don't really have the time to dive into huge RPGs anymore. Oh, by the way, I'm playing more Phantasy Star this Tuesday. That's an old game.
It is.
This one's a dungeon crawler. And I really enjoyed it. It's grid based. It's not overly complicated. What I really liked about it, I only played in the first two areas, and I know that I can speak about that up to that point right now before the game comes out. But it's just a really simple, straightforward dungeon crawler. There's not a lot of systems to deal with. It's all icon driven. You know what your magic is. You know what your hit points and your magic, how they work. Everything when you get into equipping items and looting things is all optimized. Like you have buttons that say optimize your equipment. Okay, great, and you go do that. The cooldown rate for the spells and everything is really easy to understand. My biggest thing is when you get into battle, it's laid out very well, where you've got this little stack on the left-hand side that shows you who's going to go next.
Right.
And everything is at one of three levels on the screen. So your melee attacks will hit the two closest spots to you. Your distance attack will hit the two furthest spots from you. And so that's kind of where the strategy comes in, along with all the magic and everything like that. So, but anyway, yeah, I played it for about 3 hours and really enjoyed it a lot. And you know, I mean, where Seabake was working on it, that didn't hurt because I like to play the games my friends make. Let's see, it's Phil. And see, there's the face I was looking for.
There it is.
But it's not a reflection on you, Phil.
Well, I just bought a pack of cards, so.
And no, but the thing that really struck me is, and while I was playing, that my viewers was I really like the level design. The first level takes place in a castle that's been submerged, much like the castle in Wind Waker, let's say.
Okay.
And so when you're wandering around in it, I mean, it's just this, you know, this very old style looking castle, but the water, it's flooded, but the water is actually above you. So you're not going through the water. It's all just hanging above your head. And it's just a really cool atmosphere. I really liked it. I really liked that. And then I got into a forest area after that, and also just gorgeous. And they've managed to take something that's grid based and make it feel organic. Like I said, they're not doing anything really fancy with the game. It's just so far from what I've played, just feels really well crafted. And like I said, this forest area is grid based, but it doesn't feel like you're walking down corridors all the time, which is nice. And they have a nice feature as well that they'll actually overlay a grid, but it's like a ghost overlay, so that, you know, if you do get a little bit lost, you can use this little overlay to help keep you on track. So overall, really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed what I played. It's going to go into my rotation. I have no idea how long it is, but it comes out this week. I believe it's also it's on Steam and Xbox, and I believe it's also on Game Pass.
It is.
So
yes.
if you're a Game Pass subscriber, I highly recommend checking it out.
It's on the Epic Game Store and
Epic Game Store. Sorry, not Steam.
Sorry, and Xbox Game Pass.
Yes. Sorry about that. And then and somebody in the channel said I really do need to play Octopath. I wish I could find that cheap. I need to find that for like $20.
I tried the demo they put out first, and I liked it, but I really hated the font.
You're weird, man.
I know, but in a game where you're going to be reading a lot of text, a small serif font really just annoys the crap out of me.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't you love Dead Rising?
Oh,
I do love Dead Rising. I do. Love
you remember
Dead
that
Rising.
font? I remember
it. Yeah,
I remember that font.
No,
yeah.
I completely agree with that. I can understand. This is the same reason why I don't want to play Octopath, because
there you go. Zelda's biggest fan is saying that they fixed the font. People hate it, and they fixed it.
They fixed it?
Yeah.
There you go.
I need to see a screenshot.
Oh, Jesus.
But I
CJ needs to run
much.
some tests.
I need to run some tests. Distance tests. Yeah, my eyesight's not as good as it once was.
Ain't that the sad truth?
But there's also like a 3-hour demo that you can just play that and see if.
I know there is. I need to re-download that and give it another shot. But I won't be right now, because the other thing that I grabbed this week that came out on the Switch, and I didn't even know it was coming, is Motorsport Manager is out on the Switch, which it's actually, from what I can tell, it's a port of Motorsport Manager 3, which is on mobile devices right now, which I think is a different game than the PC version, but I'm not 100% sure. So Motorsport Manager, for anybody who's listened to the show for a long time, was like my mobile game of the year a few years back.
really introduced you to
that you introduced me to.
You didn't know
really good. And I mean, they've done nothing but expand it and make it better and better, and now they're up to Motorsport Manager 3. I've kind of fallen off those games because I just don't play a lot of games on my phone anymore.
Yeah,
and I don't really use my iPad. The iPad is not part of my, I just don't use it anymore, right? And my iPad's an iPad too. It's pretty old anyway. So but I don't see the point of buying a new one, because I just don't use the thing, and I can't think of a situation where I would use it a lot. So I kind of left the Motorsport Manager games behind. Then this one came out on the Switch this week, and it's like, okay, well, I mean, the Switch I use for gaming and nothing else. I am still interested in these games. I don't think it was very expensive, and I grabbed it because I was like, oh, that's something that I think I could get into. I have been playing it nonstop for the last week. The reason why is because, I mean, it's Motorsport Manager, which is really good. It's the newest version, which is great because it's much expanded. Like, it's open wheel sports cars and prototype cars, and there's different kinds of racing in it, which I love. It's like sort of straightforward open wheel racing where you qualify and then you race. And then there's the sports cars, which is a little bit different, where you don't do a lot of you don't do any qualifying, at least the version that I've done. And then the prototypes, and also endurance racing. So there's all like switching out drivers and making sure your vehicles last for the entire race. It's awesome. I love it. And the nice thing about the Switch version is that it's probably the most accessible version that I've played, because while I liked Motorsport Manager on mobile devices, I felt that the screen was a little bit too small, and touch controls for the most part worked, but you get into some wonkiness every now and then. And if the screen got too cluttered, they're sort of easy to sort of not do what you wanted. Or if you're controlling the camera and pinching and everything to zoom, it just became a bit of a pain in the ass when everything was happening in real time. So at least for me, I know some people don't have a problem with that. I did. The Switch version maintains all of the touch controls if you want those, but also absolutely everything is controllable and easily controllable using a controller or the Joy-Cons. And the UI is laid out in such a way that it's very grid based, so it's very easy to navigate with a controller. And it's not like your left stick controls a virtual mouse. It hops from item to item.
Oh, that's nice. That's
on
nice.
the screen. So yeah, I mean, I'm really digging it. So if you're interested in that, I highly recommend it. I can't put it down. And
such a good game, and you don't actually do the driving in it. You're the manager.
You are the manager, and like, unlike the old game, which I couldn't really describe to you at this point because it's been a long time since I played it, but This one has a lot of driver management, a lot of like you can set up young driver programs and you can actually train them up and sort of guide them. Hiring mechanics, hiring race mechanics, building up supply routes and everything like that, which I think is a completely new thing. Building car parts, buying car parts. There's a lot to like. There's a political section too, and research and development where halfway through the season you actually begin to develop your new car and how much money you want to put into that. And then at the end of the year, you actually get to vote on rule changes in the division you're in. And sort of your currency is not only cash, but influence based on the sponsors you have, based on your performance. Influence becomes a currency, and that helps you with driver negotiations. And this sounds really boring. I'm totally into it. I'm totally fascinated by it. It's such a good game.
I think the original mobile game was developed by like one guy too.
It was. Yes.
Yeah. But it's been great to see him have success on mobile and then bring the series. I think it's out on PC as well.
It's been out on PC for a while, and I don't know that it's the same as the mobile game, but maybe it is.
Maybe.
But anyway, just super stoked. It's like, oh, I really love Motorsport Manager. Haven't played it in a while. I think it was like $20. Maybe it was more than that. I wouldn't have bought it if it was much more than that because I'm so miserly. But but I can't put it down. I'm playing it every night, and I just love it. So yeah, been really happy with that purchase this week.
Cool.
So that's what I've been playing.
Okay. I think then that means it's time for tweets.
Tweet.
All right. Let's do this one from hacker alias Sasquatch Shaggy, who says, "Are you guys excited for Bill and Ted 3?
No.
Yes.
Cautiously optimistic for Bill and Ted 3.
I'll see it someday.
I'll watch it.
I'm not excited.
I think I've said on the show that I didn't like Bill and Ted 2, and in fact I still haven't seen it again.
Ridiculous.
Since I originally saw it in the 90s.
Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, to use its actual title.
Go ahead and say it. Bill and Ted's not a great movie.
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure is
It's got very quotable lines.
It is incorrect. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure and Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey are both wonderful films.
Ugh.
Yeah, they are.
Yes.
So, and then he says, if so, what other 80s, 90s movies would you like a sequel or a third to make it a trilogy?
Gremlins.
Gremlins.
That'd be cool.
Gremlins 3.
That's a good one.
Gremlins 3.
Yeah.
Are they going to remake Gremlins?
Ugh, I hope not.
I mean, Small Soldiers is kind of a Gremlins.
That's a weird thing to pull out of nowhere.
No. I like Small Soldiers. Small Soldiers is fun.
I remember people like that movie, but
not really though, because
never really saw it.
That Joe Dante as well?
Yeah, it's Joe Dante also.
Yeah, so
it's kind of like Gremlins.
I mean, it's
Breakfast Club 2. I'm just reading
Breakfast Club 2. Do you remember when there was a rumor that they were going to make a Ferris Bueller 2? And it was just like the worst. Like I couldn't imagine that ever being good. But
considering all the actors were in their 30s when they played high school kids in the first movie.
Yeah.
About Ferris Bueller getting his principal arrested for pedophilia.
Oh.
I was going to say it was either going to be that or
Art imitates life.
Ferris Bueller has murdered somebody.
I was going to say, but then the lead actor killed somebody. So.
God.
It should be Ferris Bueller and Parker Lewis battle to the death. So, oh man, no.
Yeah, I agree with Gremlins.
I think
I'm going with Gremlins.
I'm going with that one too.
Yeah,
that would be. I'd like to see Gremlins 3. What would that be? Would it be more humorous, like 2, or would it?
Thing. It's like, yeah. Do you play it as kind of black comedy, like the first one, or do you go full blown?
I feel like nowadays they wouldn't do that.
You don't think so?
Do the black. The black comedy thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just don't feel like that would. I mean, maybe I don't know. I don't feel like that flies as much anymore.
Or do you do a super serious, gritty, dark and edgy Gremlins? Where
I don't think you can do that.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I'm jokingly suggesting that is
right.
possible thing I would want from a Gremlins sequel. So
my parents took me to that movie and they thought I was going to have nightmares.
Really?
And then I didn't.
No, you did not. Okay.
No.
Gremlins is good stuff.
That's the only one I can think of. Because aren't they doing a Critters TV show?
Supposedly. Although I don't know if any of the original Critter creators are involved with it.
Yeah, who knows?
I know the kid from Critters is in the Orville these days.
Oh, all right.
So he's like one of the main cast members on Orville. So
let's do this one from hacker alias Lolmanade, who says, "What's the best backhanded compliment you can come up with for a game you don't like?"
What's a game I don't like? It's a game I don't like. Oh,
not the worst thing I've ever played.
I'm sure CJ's having fun with it.
There you go.
What? What was that? Say it again.
I'm sure CJ is having fun with it right now. You can fill in the blanks about what game,
what game that might be.
I don't know, but
I see.
CJ is having a lot of fun with this.
Yeah.
Good on him.
I mean, that Grand Theft Auto's got some good music.
Does it though?
I don't know. I've never heard any of it.
Or are you remembering like Vice City?
Vice City, yeah. Vice City with the multiple disc soundtrack.
That Grand Theft Auto game from like 15 years ago, sure. Had a swell soundtrack. Yeah.
The Vice City. What about you there, Greg?
I don't know.
Game you don't like?
I just said it's not the worst thing I've ever played.
Okay.
That's all. It can be for any game.
All right, let's do this one from hacker alias Guillaume NWR, who says, "What are some games you think you could have gotten really into in the past but can't now?" For me, Wonder Boy and Monsterland. And actually, I wonder if he means Monster Boy. And
I think he probably means Monster Boy.
I think he means that, yeah. It's my kind of game, but I don't have the same patience for hard/unfair old games as I did just 6 or 7 years ago.
Just about any RPG.
That's fair.
Honestly. Yeah, I mean, see my RPG comments from earlier.
Yeah, just because I don't have the time.
Any RPG, yeah.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, I think we talked about Bloodborne and Dark Souls, and everyone's going crazy over Sekiro, which, by the way, I think Ethan asked me if we were going to talk about Sekiro on the show, and I just laughed. As if any of us would talk about Sekiro on the show. Like none of us would buy that game. Or
actually, I could talk about that game a bit.
What?
I have absolutely no interest in Sekiro.
There you go.
There you go.
Okay. Because I've heard that game's hard even for people who like Dark Souls.
Yeah, that's what I've heard too. And I think
so no thanks.
I don't include Dark Souls or any of those games in this conversation because those are games I could never have gotten into.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's. I mean, there's I was having this conversation with somebody at work because one of the developers on one of my projects took this Friday off because Sekiro came out and he wanted to go home and play that instead. He was asking about getting the time off. It's like, you know what? As long as you're, if you're not going anywhere, as long as you're available, that'd be great, just in case.
Sure. And
he's like, I'm just going to be sitting at home playing Sekiro all day. So, and so we sort of got into that conversation, and I was just like, man, an even harder Dark Souls? Like, no, those games are way too hard. And he goes, those games aren't too hard. You suck. Like, it was one of those conversations. So he was really nice about it, but he still thought I sucked.
I feel like if I was 15 years younger, okay, maybe 20 years younger.
You're older than you think, CJ.
Yeah. You're right. Damn. No, I would play those games and probably enjoy them a lot. And I mean, I feel the same way about some fighting games and RPGs, certainly, where the genre has just passed me by. Like, it's sort of appealing to a different style of gamer now than it was back when I was enjoying those.
Although I think for me the thing is like I still look at old NES games. I'll sit and play NES hard games.
Yeah,
even today, and I'll be fine with it, and I'll kill like Ninja Gaiden. I mean, I played through Ninja Gaiden when it came out on the Switch, the NES, whatever it's called, Switch Online. It's not an easy game,
right?
But I just can't. And I mean, I'm playing through Zelda 2 right now. Not an easy game, but I can't bring myself to, like, when we were playing Bloodborne. Oh my god, I got to the second boss maybe, and I was like, yeah, I'm done with this. I could not care less.
But I can get why people like that level of challenge.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's just not for me.
Right.
You know what? It's a game I could have gotten into back in the day and probably would have been like crazy obsessed with is WoW.
Oh, really?
I think if WoW hit when I was in like high school.
If WoW had hit when I was single and it wasn't just after I'd had a kid or we were about to have a kid. Seriously, right?
Oh,
I could see getting into that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So
I agree with that.
For me, I think you mentioned there too, fighting games is a good example. I have not touched any of the latest Street Fighters. And I think they're gorgeous, and I know I'd like them if I played them, but I just have never touched them. And it has everything to do with the fact that the only time I was really into fighting games was basically in the late 90s, early 2000s, and that was because I was surrounded by people who loved fighting games. And I was just good enough that I didn't win a lot, but I was good enough that I could have good matches.
Yeah.
Right. So I was actively buying fighting games. Like, I bought tons of fighting games on the Saturn. I was still buying them on the Dreamcast and early PlayStation 2. And then it just kind of, I fell off of them because my friends, the group wasn't as close anymore. They had all moved around. And so I just don't get into fighting games now, but I used to be huge into them.
Probably like those really tough platformers though, like Meat Boy and those that have come after it. I just have no interest. No, sorry to say. I mean, I certainly can respect those games for what they're doing, and people who master those, it's crazy some of the stuff they're able to pull off. But that's just not the type of player I am anymore.
It's like Celeste. That's why I didn't get into Celeste.
I liked Celeste. I think the level design in Celeste was just really smart. Maybe smarter than I find other sort of gauntlet platformers like that. But I agree that Celeste didn't really like bubble to the top for me because I didn't want to deal with a difficult platformer, even though I liked the fact that when you died, you were very quick back into it. And I don't know.
Yes.
I appreciate its level design, but it's not for me. That's what I'm going to say.
Yep.
All right, let's finish up with this one. Hacker alias Trezor, who says, if you could bring back one gaming company, hardware or software, which would it be?
Sega.
That's a tough call.
Hardware. Hardware Sega.
Hardware Sega?
Yeah.
I'd say Dreamcast software Sega. Like, where's my Phantasy Star?
Well, that kind of goes hand in hand, doesn't it?
I guess it kind of does, but like
I would love to see what Sega would do.
I want to say I find this conversation very touching that the first place both of you went was Sega.
Well, is that? No. I mean,
no, I don't disagree.
Is there a better answer?
I don't disagree.
Is there a better answer? Then I would love to see Sega making hardware again.
Yep.
So
you guys stole my answers.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's an easy one.
An easy one. Alrighty, and that is our show for this week. Thank you very much for listening. If you have a question for us or would like to comment on something you heard, you can direct that to @P1 Podcast on the Twitters, or you can go to our internet website at player1podcast.com. There you'll find our contact information. You'll also find blog entries about Sega CD from Mr. Grixor.
Oh, there it is.
In fact, you did one.
It did. On Radical Rex.
Radical Rex.
Back before Double Fine decided to do a rad game.
Activision
did Radical Rex.
Yeah. Keep in mind, there was also Totally Rad on the NES. So there you go. Why play Rad when I can play a game that's totally rad?
Right? Radical Rex. Mixing dinosaurs and radicalness.
Yeah.
I guess so. You'll also find Generation 16 episodes.
Yes, please go watch the latest one. Is what episode 117, Wonder Boy 3, Monster Lair.
Hold on a second, buddy. I'm about to do my outro.
It's
yeah. Phil's about to talk into the microphone.
Yeah.
Stay and watch the master at work.
Yeah. Here, you want to stick around for this, Finn?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Anyway.
have Phil do the outro.
Okay. Here we go.
Is this still in the video?
Yes, we are on the internet right now.
Ah!
There you go. You want to say something? Say something profound to everyone. There it is. That's
Just
my
like
boy.
your dad.
That's my Okay.
Anyway, yeah, you got your Wonder Boy stuff in that video. Go watch it.
Go watch it.
You'll also find show notes and links to the stuff that we talked about at our website. And you'll find a link to our Discord server where you will be able to discuss this episode with us and our other listeners.
Here we go, buddy. Listen to this.
What?
If you'd like to subscribe to the Player One Podcast, you can do so by visiting playeronepodcast.com or by loading up the Apple Podcast application. You can also head over to the App Store and invest $1.99. Say cheap.
Cheap.
Oh man,
Yeah, someone's
good.
got
That
it for
one
Greg's
hurt.
job.
right here.
Gives you
younger
one-touch
generation.
communication with us via the emails, the Twitters, and what have you. Also have all of our episodes ready to stream right to your listening device. And hey, Android telephone users, the Player One Podcast
Cheap.
iPhone app. No,
Not
you
yet.
jumped your
See?
line, dude.
My job's
Leave
not in danger
voicemails.
yet.
The Player One Podcast iPhone application
Cheap.
is available for your listening devices
Cheap.
as well
Cheap.
for that same $1.99. Now say also cheap.
Pikachu.
Yeah.
There we go.
Also cheap.
Always on brand.
On brand.
Mr. Fort Doodoo.
That's
Oh,
it. There it
also on
is.
brand.
Yep.
That's that Theobald brand right
That's
there.
the Theobald brand for sure. You can find that right over there with the Amazon Android Marketplace. We're also on
Cheap.
We're Stitcher. No! We're
I want
Stitcher
to
Radio.
point out,
Cheapy.
Mr.
Yeah.
Fart Doodle. That's learned behavior. We all know that.
Oh,
Learned
of course it
behavior.
is.
Cheap.
Cheap.
It is cheap.
That's on. So we're on Stitcher Radio. We're on Spotify.
Yeah.
You can like us on Facebook. You can watch archives of our show
And fart a lot.
and fart
Oh
a lot.
my.
Okay,
That's a service.
Do I have to send you out of the room?
No.
You gotta pay
Okay.
for those though.
Okay. We're Finn, you made me lose my train of thought, dude.
We stream on
Yes,
YouTube.
We're on stream on YouTube. Oh, yeah, you can watch us live most weeks on the youtubes.com/P1 podcast. And if you like what you've heard, and how could you say that? And how could you?
And how could my bat friend say hello?
What?
That doesn't even make sense.
Learned behavior.
Oh my gosh. You can head over to patreon.com/P1 podcast where you'll find
Fartcast.
Fartcast, where you will find our link to help support the show. Send a few shekels our way. It will help me hire a babysitter on Sunday nights for the next 3 weeks.
Oh, my.
Yeah, no, yeah, I know. And if you are a Patreon supporter of the $5 and higher tier, you gain access.
$5 Mr. Kitty Cat Man.
Yeah, Mr. Kitty Cat
Oh.
Man. To
Like we have a new
bonus,
Patreon tier.
a bonus episode every week where we play games, we have fun, we crack wise.
Mr. Panda Dude.
Mr. Panda Dude
Panda Dude.
might even show up. Oh, are you seeing the Panda Dude right there? You see, he is referring to your plush Genma.
I see. Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Panda.
What's Mr. Dude Pants?
Mr. Dude Pants.
I don't know who
That's
that
what we
is.
call CJ.
Yeah.
That's what we call CJ there. And if you have a couple bucks left over, head over to generation-16.com where you'll find the Patreon link to help support Greg Stewart's outstanding.
Ba, ba, ba.
gosh.
Ba, ba.
When is your mother getting home from China?
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
I think we're realizing that Phil's
Three.
section of the outro is too long.
3 weeks.
Mm.
Go give money to Greg because
Okay.
Generation 16 is
Here,
great as
have
well.
money.
Thank you.
Oh,
CJ,
I'll give
Yeah.
you
thank you so much.
thank you, Phil.
Gregory,
Yo,
thank you so much.
thank you, Phil.
Money.
Finn, Finn,
From my wallet.
calm down.
I stole someone's wallet.
Dude,
Oh
we're not
my.
supposed to talk about that, okay? We can get in trouble telling everyone about that.
Daddy
True.
paid good money to make that charge go away.
Yeah. You're a goofball, you know that?
That's why
I
you're not
didn't
going to
steal
Stanford. You
someone's
spent the money on
wallet.
that.
Okay. And of course, thanks to all of our lovely listeners.
How dare you?
How dare you what?
I don't
How
know
dare
what
you.
it says.
That is so
like
you.
that.
Oh my god. That is a mini Phil.
Don't leave.
Okay, dude,
Don't
dude.
leave.
Can you
No.
say, Finn, can you say goodbye to everyone?
Okay.
Well, say
Say
it.
goodbye.
Say bye-bye. Say toodaloo.
Okay.
Say get lost, you jerks.
Oh my.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Mr. Kitty.